Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Gruber Wired. I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and welcome once again.
Welcome back. Yeah, it's starting to warm up here
It
a little
is. And you know what's warming up? Baseball, right?
bit. Yay!
It's time for spring training.
Yeah, next week I'll be wearing my D-backs uniform instead of my regular Gruber shirt. So we're gonna get into
There
that.
you go.
Yep, there we go. Should be good. Hey, we even have a chance at Vladimir Guerrero this year. I don't know.
Yeah,
They keep talking about it.
we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I know but it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
all the snowbirds are in Phoenix right now, fleeing the cold, the great cold north for the spring training games and
ready for some
sunshine.
Late, into the high 80s, almost 90-degree weather this next week. So,
Yep.
We're going to start warming up. Forget about spring. We're already going to jump right into summer.
There you go.
Make our leap and off we go.
Yep. So we're excited today have a guest back. We had him on our 7th ever podcast, and please welcome back Steve Spoonts from Qabbin Wire and Cable.
Steve, how
Hello,
are
gentlemen.
We're glad to have you back, Steve.
Yes, welcome back.
Well, I'm very honored to be asked back. There was a point in time in my life when I didn't get a lot of return invitations to a lot of places. So this is very meaningful to me, and I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate it, and we really appreciate the relationship that we have built with you over the years. So thank to you and Qabbin Wire and Cable. We do appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Qabbin and Gruber have done some good things together, and I think the future is very bright for us as we go forward here in 2025.
Yep. And, one thing that's important that we tout on our website when we talk to customers is our USA made cables, and that's with USA made Qabbin wire. So we're very happy to have a partnership, a USA partnership, and produce some great end product as a result.
Yeah, we're very proud to be all U.S. made. Everything we do, all of our design, our manufacturing, our primary warehouse, everything is done in our little factory up in Ware, Massachusetts, which is a small town in the middle of the state up there. There's 3 of us in the company that don't work out of that facility. All 3 of us are in sales. I'm down in Dallas. I've got a counterpart in the Chicago area, and then another one that's over in North Carolina. So, we're all U.S. made, veteran owned. We're very proud of that, and it's nice to be aligned with partners that are support America as well.
Yeah, I got one word to say about the Qabbin Wire and Cable and you, Steve, and the word that I classify you guys in is honest. You got a tried, true, tested cable, and just an overall business, respect. You guys are very honest. That's the word I like to use to deem you folks.
Well, that's honestly one of the best things I think could ever be said about us. We do try to be very transparent and honest. There's, any gains that would be gotten by being less than truthful are going to be short-lived anyway. And, my goal personally has always been to be able to walk back into any customer's door 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And the only way to do that is to try to show a little bit of integrity and be honest in all our relationships. And it's nice to have customers and customer partners that share those same ideals.
You bet. It's really, when we deal with our customers and we have to, meet deadlines or at least project when we're going to accomplish something, that honesty, that transparency is only possible when we have that with our partners. We know exactly what to expect, so then we can manage our relationship. So it's so key to have that as it's a non-quantifiable value that is indispensable in business, especially in the business that we're in, where people try and plan, jobs and they, are counting on things to arrive on time, or at least know when they're going to arrive based on lead times and all that. So it's an invaluable characteristic that hopefully all of our partners exhibit. We wouldn't do business with them if they couldn't, and we appreciate that. That's a value that Qabbin exhibits time and time again.
Thank you, and I will pass those kind words back up the chain to the factory. Everybody in the company appreciates it when the things that they do on a daily basis are recognized and appreciated. So thank you all very much for that.
Oh,
You
you're
bet.
welcome.
And a case in point too is, we worked on this project, and it has to do with their, one of their flagship products, one of their premium products. It's a harsh environment cable.
Correct. Yeah.
And they manufacture a larger diameter, which like an 8.2 millimeter of this cable, and then they had one color of the 6.5 in the same jacketing material, just a little thinner of a diameter 6.5 millimeter, that we're working on a project. And there's a previous podcast where you can watch it regarding our Neutrik cabling that we're doing, the Ethercon cabling that we are offering for production companies, television studios, concerts, companies that do all of that type of, have that kind of use. And so we decided to promote and build a product line around that. Qabbin came to the table, and even though they hadn't built that, the black wire, the black cable in that particular size, they worked with us. They were honest brokers, said, hey, this is what we can do, and this is the time frame. And so we went down that road, and we're happy that, beginning of March or so, we're going to be seeing some of that run come into the shop here and be able to build some of those thinner, smaller diameter Neutrik Ethercon cables. And so it was all possible because of that collaboration back and forth to get it done. And I know, Steve, you did a lot to push that through with your team, and you made it happen, and we appreciate that.
Well, yeah, you're quite welcome, and I'm excited about this because that whole industrial Ethernet or harsh environment Ethernet product line has been a major growth line for us over the course of the little over 10 years that I've been with the company. The primary product that we've worked with Gruber on over the years has been our commercial stranded patch cable, which is designed and made for nice office environments or for data center environments. And those products, we've sold millions and millions and millions and millions of feet of all of that. When Ethernet started moving more into the plant automation and process control world, probably 15, 18, 19 years ago, we decided to take what we had learned with the commercial patch products and just really beef this stuff up and make it a lot more robust in terms of shielding. Like in our shielded versions, we typically use a foil plus a braid shield over that. And then we use some different jacketing compounds, whereas most of the commercial product that y'all have used for decades uses a PVC jacket, although we also now have low smoke, zero halogen, and we've even got a plenum rated commercial patch cable. We generally use TPE, a thermoplastic elastomer, some polyurethanes. We've got some low smoke polyurethanes that we use in that, but these are jackets that really, really hold up to abrasion. Of course, the cables are very high flex and high flex life, which makes them very suitable for these concert and audio applications like y'all are talking about, where they can be, rolled out, used, respooled, put away, and then used time and time and time again. And, we found a lot of unique applications for these industrial cables that go far beyond manufacturing plants and processing plants you doing things as simple as maybe temporarily installing PoE cameras to watch an equipment yard or something like that. I don't think we had any idea that the pro audio and pro lighting markets would use these Ethernet cables when we came up with them. So this is going to be a fun thing to walk through with y'all, as you go forward with this initiative. And we're very glad and proud to be associated with you to provide the cables for it.
No, thank you. That's great. And I'm already taking a look at various markets, like the Las Vegas market, for instance, where you see a lot of these shows and a lot of this type of activity. Perfect types of environment for this particular type of cable.
Mhm.
Right. And one of the things that is the litmus test for me, obviously, is, what does the end user think, right? And, one of our guys, Harry, had a couple of his customers come in, and he actually wasn't in that day, and I got to bring the cables up and show them, and they were looking at them. Man, this feels nice, and the flexibility and everything, and man, and they use similar cables day in and day out, and they were just hugely impressed, and are actually looking at redoing all of their cabinets with these cables.
Yep.
Because all of their road gear, and it's because of the quality. I mean, at the end of the day, you touch it, you feel it, that it's high quality. I mean, it just oozes the professional cable.
Like I said before, like you said, it's the touch, right?
Yeah. We
manufacture things by hand. Why? Because you can feel, you get the sense during that process. It's just especially the quality that's coming out of the Qabbin cable. We have a couple of comments here from the Highlander. Says, finally, somebody's talking about PLCs. So there you go.
Yep, we can talk PLCs and all. That's all a big part of our business and whatnot with these cables. But it's it's always fun to see them used in unique and different ways. And one thing that I want to say is we do build a fine cable. Neutrik has built great connectors forever.
Yeah.
But without the excellent workmanship and craftsmanship of putting that connector onto that cable, none of it works good. It'll just look nice sitting in a pile on a floor somewhere. So, y'all are to be commended too for the excellent installation work that y'all do, mating up the plugs with the cables too.
Yeah, we're excited. We do have we have a great team,
Yes.
Lee and all the crew back in the assembly house, just bar none. They are amazing people. Yeah.
Our hats are off to them for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, literally.
I should have worn a hat today.
There you go.
No, but speaking of the harsh environment stuff, I have a couple of pictures to show, just to showcase the harsh environment.
Sure.
If you want to pull it, well, actually, let's start with number one. It kind of gives the guide I pulled from your internet in regards to harsh environment cabling.
Sure.
So if you want to pull that up for us there, Jesse, that'd be great. So that'll be just a moment. There we go. There we go. I know it's going to cut off a view of it. So you kind of get an idea there of kind of start with the applications on the far left side there, or right side if you're watching, right?
Yep.
Yeah, factory automation, robotic control, machine vision, food and beverage, oil and gas, military, renewable energy, transportation, harsh environments, Profinet, cable, Ethernet, and live entertainment, which is just what we were talking about. And you can see the listing ratings there for that as well. So it kind of gives you an idea of, this is just the general scope of your harsh environment cabling, correct?
Are, a lot of different requirements for certain markets like that MSHA that you saw there. That's a mine safety certification for when these cables have to go running down in mines.
Wow.
That we have to meet. We do that on some of them. We've got some 600-volt cables, that meet appliance wiring guides to be used inside of cabinets, but to be able to run alongside 600-volt cabling. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into this. These are pretty highly engineered, and again, it's just been a real fun growth area for us over, the time that I've been with the company.
Yeah, there's just so many different varieties of applications. I know I pulled up some pictures that we could take a look at too, but military was a big one that I saw for application purposes that you guys work with and supply to.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Qabbin does not build products to mil specs, but where that military thing came in was a number of years ago. We were working with a company that does a lot of military contracts, and they had won. This was during Desert Storm, and they had won an award to develop a man-portable satellite communication
Huh.
system that special forces could use in the mountains in Afghanistan. And I don't know what kind of rock those mountains are, shale, but it apparently when it breaks, it leaves a very, very sharp edge. So they needed to have a cable that had a extreme abrasion resistance to it, and
Hmm.
we developed Cat 5e. Of course, it's double shielded with foil and braid, has a polyurethane jacket on it. And they started buying that cable, and it's our part number 5730. And we've been extremely successful with that over the years, selling it into a lot of other different military applications. And then a couple of years ago, they asked us if we could do an upgrade to that cable because they wanted to go to Cat 6A and increase their bandwidth
Hmm.
on what they were using it for. So we did that and came out with what we call our 5919, which is a Cat 6A version of that same cable. So that's really been our big entree into the military world is that.
Oh, very
Nice.
cool. Yeah, we were talking before the show in regards to the aspects of copper cabling and fiber optic cabling as well, right? And how
Right.
the two have a symbiotic relationship, which you had pointed out in your own home.
Yeah, we don't, first off, Quabbin doesn't do any fiber. We're strictly copper
Hmm.
and all of that, and there's been a lot of discussion over the years, is fiber going to just completely do away with copper? And while I think it'll certainly have an impact on it, I doubt that it'll ever completely go away because, as we were talking before we began here, that even with areas in buildings, office buildings, where you've got a lot of wireless activity, with Wi-Fi and all that, you've got copper cabling that's running to those access points, much of which today is providing PoE as well as the Ethernet signal, but it's actually powering the access point via the copper. And until someone's able to figure out how to run current through light, I think we're going to continue to have copper cable alongside a lot of the fiber that we see out there.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because I mean there's just too much that cable does besides transmit data,
Correct. Yeah.
and so uh the equipment, you'd have to end of life a whole lot of equipment to do away with copper, and that industry itself isn't going to just go away,
No.
right? So
Not at all. Now, you had mentioned PoE, and for our listeners out there, a lot of people don't understand maybe what power over Ethernet is and the restrictions and the lengths and so forth. So, can you just maybe chime in a little bit on that?
Well, excuse me. First off, I'm not an engineer, but what power over Ethernet is exactly what it sounds like.
Mhm.
An Ethernet cable typically has four pairs of conductors that are transmitting the signal. And what PoE does is it also overlays power onto those same conductors that to run along with the data signals as well. In these industrial cables, like you're talking about with this audio initiative, those cables typically have a little more copper content in them than some of our pure commercial data cables do. Like our gauge sizes in our industrial line run from 22 gauge down to 26 gauge, whereas in our commercial line, it's 24 gauge, 26, and 28 gauge. And even on those really small 28 gauge cables, you can still run PoE on them. Where you get into limitations and where the electric code comes in is in how many of those cables do you bundle together. And again,
Yeah.
I'm thinking now in terms of a rack or something in a data center, where
Right.
with that extra power going through there, you're going to have heat rise, and then you get the
Yep.
cumulative heat of the cables in the bundle, and that's really where a lot of the what's the word I'm looking for? Where the consideration has to come. You know how much power that you do run. But
Sure.
yeah, all of our Ethernet
Kind of a
cables
tolerance kind of
are
thing. What is the
PoE
maximum
suitable.
tolerance? Yeah.
Yeah. Highlander came back on asking about Cat 8 or Cat 10, and we were discussing this too before the show. So, Cat 8, what's your
Yeah,
take on that?
we do have two part numbers, two constructions in Cat 8. And I've had some different customers in different parts of my sales region that have expressed some interest in it. And I think that one of the things that's happening is that people are just assuming that, we've gone from Cat 3 to Cat 5 to Cat 5e to Cat 6 to Cat 6A, 6A. In Europe, industrially, they have a Cat 7 that's used pretty extensively. That's really not that popular over here. And I think that a lot of people are thinking that Cat 8 is just the next logical progression above that. Cat 8 is typically, I think, set up for 40 gigabits per second. The reality of it is this is not going to be a household type um, cabling or anything. This is going to be a data center type stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that any Cat 8 cables that we provide, copper cables, will mainly be for interconnection within cabinets in a data center. Um, to get that kind of speeds in a home or an office, you're going to be going with fiber, and can actually go, a lot faster than that as well. But for Cat 8, it's mainly, at least the way we see it, is going to be for interconnection within cabinets or enclosures in data centers.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen, pictures of terminated Cat 8s, and that cable's pretty thick.
Yeah, it
It
is.
Yes, it
looks like
is.
it looks
It
like
is.
a hose
Ours,
that's
the
stopped up
designs that
and
we've done are
Yeah.
actually very similar to what a Cat 7 looks like, which is individually shielded pairs with an overall shield and then a jacket. So those cables are along the size diameter wise of a lot of our industrial Ethernet cables.
sure.
Gotcha.
And
Wow.
practically speaking, there's a theoretical limit to what copper can do anyway, and it's a factor of size of basically the cable and the distance, right? So,
Right.
40 gigs, like you said, when you get to that level, you really want to think about fiber
Yeah.
a lot.
And
Yeah,
plus, you've got to have extremely good workmanship on the termination of the plug to that cable,
yeah,
in order for it to achieve that kind of speed and bandwidth.
right, right.
I got a question, Steve. Um, we only got a few moments left here today, but what is up and coming? What's new? What are you seeing as far as, might be exciting with Qabbin wire and cable? What should we see maybe coming out this year in 2025?
Well, we've got a couple of new products new to us. They're not new to the industry or anything. We're not going to be um, setting any technological
Hmm.
records with any of this, but we do have a line of some sensor cables coming. Again, these are industrial products
Mm-hmm.
used in automation to hook up and tie sensors and actuators back into controllers. We're looking at some portable cordage, and both of those product offerings have been requested by a couple of big customers of ours that while even though these types of products are available from other sources, they like working with us. They like our commitment to quality and everything, and they want us to try to engineer some solutions for them as well. It's going to be interesting, as we continue to go into the year with the new administration with tariffs,
Yeah.
seeing what may end up happening there. I think I mentioned, I don't know if we were talking beforehand, but all of our product is made in the U.S. So we're not going to have part of our product line be subject to tariffs because we're importing it. I understand we do get some of our copper from Canada, but I would think that any tariff, this is just me thinking out loud, that any tariff implications will get settled before it really ever gets to that point. I think we'll work out our differences with Canada and not see any kind of tariff implications with the raw material there.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time for American businesses. I think that U.S. based is going to become a necessity for some of the overseas companies. They're going to have to bring manufacturing here, and it's going to be more cost effective for them to do that than continue to pay the tariff on things, because their product is not going to be competitive with the tariff, but bringing it here would make dollars and cents because overall the cost to produce could be less, and therefore there's a serious cost benefit to it, which I think is the whole point of the tariffs. It's not to throw money into the treasury. That's a byproduct. It's to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., and the 10 million manufacturing jobs that have been lost over the last 20 years will come back. And I think that's really the great thing about it.
Yeah, very exciting to companies like Qabbin and Gruber that do utilize U.S. Manufacturing, and I think it's a real exciting time in life, to see what's happening right now.
It sure has been a whirlwind month, that's for sure.
Oh man,
it's been, to say the least.
Just when you think it can't get any crazier, prove us wrong, don't they?
Hey, if that's crazy, don't call me sane. I love it. Yep. That's my. I don't hide my political stuff on the podcast. We're not afraid at all. We let it fly.
We got Highlander with another question for you here. It said that you mentioned data centers would communicate between automation. Do controllers in large facilities also count?
If I mentioned data centers and automation in the same sentence, I must have gotten confused there. We think of data centers as more of a commercial type enterprise, whereas the automation, a lot of what we're talking about is factory automation in controllers, whether those are process plants or whether they're manufacturing cars or refrigerators or anything of that nature. But Ethernet is greatly overtaking a lot of the historic individual protocols that were used in factory automation, like control net, device net, Profibus, foundation field bus in the processing world. A lot of that today is moving towards Ethernet based systems because of the open standards, and really frees up people to use whatever equipment that they want to use. So it's really two different worlds for us, automation and the data center or commercial world.
Makes sense. Also, on behalf of Pete Gruber, the owner of our company, Pete, he just wanted to say welcome, Steve, and thank you for joining us today. He appreciates that.
Thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that's about all the time we got today. Hey, by the way, so a year ago we were going an hour. We've shortened it up to a half an hour because, everything we need to say happens in that half an hour, and the rest of it was just filler anyway.
Fluff anyway. So
fine with me. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Steve, once again, that word keeps coming to my mind, and that's honest. And we appreciate you and Qabbin Wire and Cable for your honesty.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Great partner. Great reason to do business with Gruber because we have partners like Qabbin behind us.
Thank you. And
You bet.
I look forward to getting out there soon and seeing y'all in person
Yes,
before
sir.
the thermometer bursts through the top.
You know what? If you show up in person, then we'll just have you here live on our show in
Oh,
person.
no, that
Yeah.
would be fun.
And
I'll
then-
even bring a hat.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
we could do a whole Q&A with the audience. We can have an audience, chime in and ask questions and just have a lot of fun with it.
And anyway, it's
Oh,
a
that's good.
dry
I might have
heat.
to fight my way out afterwards, but I could do that too.
Yeah, it's a dry heat anyway. And, when it says 110, it's only 110 for like 10 minutes, and the rest of it's the up and the down. So,
well, this guy, I think the 2 bits is running around
It's a
again.
dry
Why are
heat,
you got?
know,
Why are
it's a
you
dry
doing
heat.
that,
It's very
man?
different than what
What
we
is
have here
wrong
in
with
Dallas,
you?
Texas with the humidity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no humidity
none
here.
of that
That's for
here.
sure.
Nope.
So-
Nope.
All right. Well, Steve, thank you, graciously
Thank you.
once again.
Yes, we appreciate you being here. So everybody, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Remember, we're on every Thursday at 3 p.m. Arizona time. So for now, I'm Mark Beach with Johnny Walmart Greeter Dotson, and we wish you to have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.